Okay, all right, there's no national commission to say, okay, listen, I want you in my office Monday morning, we're going to watch this. You got to explain to me what the hell you did here or what you didn't do, because you didn't give an 8 count. You let him go to the corner. Last I checked, the rules have not changed in boxing. There are no timeouts. What did you do? Why did you do that? And if I don't get the right answer, you're suspended. You're suspended.
He got away with it. But the sport let him get away with it. There's nothing wrong with the fighters. It's the administrators of this sport that there's a lot wrong with. And there is. And you see it. And we shouldn't keep seeing it. It's got to be stopped. A referee, that is not in the rule book. You get hit with a jab. I know there was a second or two in between. Sometimes you see a delay, knockdown, whatever. The punch didn't hurt him. I understand that. But he got hit a jab, and then a second, 2 seconds later, he takes a knee. Guess what? I'm sorry. That constitutes a knockdown. Your knee goes...
Teddy Atlas has just made a big announcement about the Devin Davis versus Lamont Roach fight. It's not surprising, since as an experienced boxing trainer, he can spot things that casual fans or random viewers might miss. His detailed observations bring a unique perspective that the boxing community really appreciates without causing much controversy. Here's what he had to say.
Down after a punch somewhere around there, that's a knockdown. There is, again, we're not in football. There are no fair catches here. You know what I mean? And if it was, to your point last night when I said it, it would be a touchback. You know what I mean? It would, if you took a knee in a certain situation, it would be a touchback. I mean, there were rules for a reason. Unless even Crawford came out. The great Terrence Crawford.
With all the controversy surrounding the fight, which has grabbed the attention of the boxing community, Teddy Atlas has shared his thoughts on who he thought was winning when the final bell rang. Speaking on his YouTube channel, Atlas admitted that while the fight was very close, he believed Roach had won enough rounds to be the winner. I'm not saying it wasn't close, it was, but I think I'm giving it to Roach. I'd have to watch it again to be totally honest, but I've got to give it to Roach. Regarding the controversial knee that wasn't counted as a knockdown, Atlas placed the blame squarely on the referee.
The great Terrence Crawford, pound for pound, one of the best fighters in the world, in the top 3 between him, Inoue, and Usyk, right? I got Usyk first. I got him and Inoue right there. I think Usyk deserves to be first after what he's done, putting together the heavyweight title, the whole thing, the whole shebang. But Crawford came out and said, I didn't know that was a rule. I guess I was sleeping when they passed that one. I guess I was taking a nap, or maybe I was out doing road work.
What Tank did that when he took the knee? What you think when he took the knee? I can't speak on that. Can't speak on that? Yeah. He did some bullshit though? I can't speak on that. You have no personal opinion, nothing? Yeah.
He took a knee after getting hit with a jab, which should have counted as a knockdown, but the referee missed it. The referee messed that up. It was a clear knockdown, and Roach should be the champion right now. Teddy Atlas continued his rant, saying, "In the 9th round, I said it before, this isn't the Indianapolis 500. You can't just go to pit row because your oil needs changing, your tires need swapping, or you've got grease in your eyes. There's no pit row in boxing." When Tank went down on a knee, Roach deserves credit, but maybe he should have gone after him more. The rule is to defend yourself at all times, and Roach would have been within his rights to attack.
But definitely we need better refs that assure themselves, know how to make a decision, know they're making the right decision, emboldened to make that decision. I think that, I don't know that he would have let Roach.
I've seen fighters hit opponents who are turning or walking away, and the referee doesn't stop it unless the bell rings or he steps in. You have the right to hit that guy. Roach had the right to keep going. He showed sportsmanship, and I give him credit for that. But when Tank turned, Roach could have hit him with a left hook, or maybe a straight left since he's a southpaw. It was his right to keep going and throw a punch. Maybe he could have caught him and knocked him down, while Tank was turning. It wouldn't have been the nicest thing to see, but Roach wouldn't have been wrong.
out doing road work. He didn't say that, by the way. I'm just adding that to it. But I must have been busy doing something when that rule. That is not a rule. I said it earlier. This is not the Indianapolis 500. You can't go into pit row. That you.
Pointing out the real issues, Teddy Atlas added that both Tank and the referee were at fault. Tank was allowed to take a knee, go to his corner, get whatever was obstructing his vision wiped away, and then continue the fight. If the referee had scored that as a 10-8 round, which it should have been, even though Tank wasn't hurt, Roach would have won the title instead of getting a draw. A lot of people with a Play 900 ticket are probably feeling pretty good right now. Despite the controversy, many believe the March 1 fight between Tank Davis and Lamont Roach Jr. will go down as one of the most controversial bouts in recent boxing history. Almost everyone in the sport has criticized referee Steve Willis's poor judgment in letting Davis go to his corner in the middle of a round without penalty and not docking him a point for taking a knee.
We need better refs. We need more educated refs, whatever you want, trained refs. I'm not going to say honest because I don't know if honesty had something to do with it. I don't know.
What's more, this fight will leave a bad taste in the boxing world's mouth, at least until the rumored rematch happens. Davis managed to escape with a majority draw, while if a knockdown had been called, Roach would have won. Boxing legend. Teddy Atlas didn't disagree with the criticism of the poor refereeing and felt just as disappointed by the fight's outcome as everyone else. However, in a recent episode of his The Fight with Teddy Atlas podcast, the former trainer also offered a more positive take on the fight, calling it high-level boxing. Atlas said that the Davis versus Roach fight featured two fighters at the highest level, showing their skills and everything that comes with it. Contrary to the criticism, he believes that was high-level boxing and the sweet science at its best.
They're two quality fighters, short punches, putting them together on the inside, that's science. I know a lot of people say, no, Teddy, that's fire. That's offense. That's aggression. No, that's...
He later added, when you're in a dangerous spot in the middle of the heat and you don't get burned, you don't get torched, you don't get scorched, that's high-level boxing. That's the sweetest of the sweet science. He marveled at how these two fighters performed. My goodness, there's no room for error. Both guys, especially Tank, are so dangerous. One little punch and bam, it's all over. Atlas concluded by saying, I appreciated that fight. They did their thing. Teddy Atlas went on to say, is it possible that he went in thinking like everyone else, making Tank a 1/600 favorite, thinking he'd easily beat this guy? Maybe he subconsciously bought into that, even if he didn't want to. It happens. That could have played a part. But at the end of the day, it was Roach who made him have an off night.
That's the sweet science. You can do the sweet science and be aggressive. You don't have to do it on the outside only. You don't have to do it only, with separation. You don't have to do it only.
Of course, you wouldn't expect a boxing veteran like Teddy Atlas to limit his commentary to just a quick post-fight eulogy, which often happens immediately after a fight. But this time, it was very different. On his podcast, Teddy Atlas went beyond just praising the fighters and offered a detailed, insightful analysis of the fight that took place 2 weeks ago. His comments were unique but respected, as he revealed his pick for the winner of the Davis versus Roach showdown. Atlas explained that Roach had the right game plan. He was longer, bigger, and taller, using the jab on the outside and controlling the distance. Then, Roach started closing the distance, which Atlas didn't think he should have done. I didn't know if he could, and I thought that was dangerous for him. But he was ready for it, Atlas said. He believed Roach's best strategy was to stay on the outside and use his jab to set traps, hoping to get Tank, a fighter who doesn't make many mistakes, to get over-anxious, frustrated, or walk into a counter.
Where it's everybody in the world can see it, where, you set traps all night long. You could set traps while you're pressing a fight too, on the inside. Force the guy to open up and then...
Teddy Atlas praised Lamont Roach's bravery and his ability to handle a fighter like Tank. He said, you don't go into the lion's den unless you're prepared, or you might get your head bitten off like others have. But Roach went into the lion's den the right way. with a tight guard behind the jab, doing Joe Louis-style work. Atlas expressed his admiration for Joe Louis, saying, "Joe Louis threw the nicest, shortest right hands you've ever seen, straight, with no room to counter, no room for mistakes." Continuing the comparison, Atlas explained that Roach used similar tactics, throwing short right hands and left hooks. If you go into a dangerous place with a guy like Tank, you need to keep your defense tight and throw short punches, with no room for his quick, powerful hands to slip in. If you do that, you can get away with it. Roach did, and he succeeded.
Shot, throw short shots inside his little wider shots. That was the sweet science. That was high level fighting, high level boxing. Really,
Yeah, that was a really good fight.
High level stuff where there was no room for.
Before the fight, Teddy Atlas had spoken very highly of Devin Davis, as expected from anyone who's followed the WBA lightweight champion's career from the start. Lamont Roach wasn't favored by many, except for Shakur Stevenson. With his knowledge of Lamont Roach and his boxing skills, Stevenson predicted that Roach would take the fight to Tank Davis and make it go all the way to the 12th round.
Choice, he knows how to do it if he wants to. At the end of the day, all of what I said, Bud, it's one thing that really makes the day. It's not being...
Earning the admiration of legendary boxing trainer Teddy Atlas is no small feat, but Devin Tank Davis has done just that. Heading into his bout with Lamont Roach Jr. on Saturday, Atlas broke down the fight and described Davis as one of the top pound-for-pound fighters. It's not just because of his power, but because of his ability to do everything. He's the complete package. Atlas said on his The Fight with Teddy Atlas podcast, "He's up there in the top 5 pound-for-pound. I don't put him there just because he's a puncher. I put him there because he's a complete fighter. He can go get you. He can fight. In the trenches, he can attack the body and head. He can use his legs when needed. He can set traps. He can counterpunch. He can be patient and control the fight, slowly shrinking the ring on you without getting ahead of himself. And he can punch like crazy."